The Jake Asman Show will begin shortly. Thanks to all these great Patreon members who help support the show. Get your super chats ready. Jake will be here in just a moment. If you love the New York Jets, this is the place to be. And now, the Jake Asman Show.
Today, we're breaking down Woody Johnson's role in the Jets' future going forward. A lot to get into with the Jets, even if it's still the month of May. Paul Fiore is going to join me. It's the Jake Asman Show. Let's hit it and get it started.
We sitting in here, we excited as hell.
Now it's time to get to work. Are you a happy guy?
Oh my goodness, let's go!
I haven't felt joy talking about the Jets in a long time. When they announced it, I went, yeah! Jets, let's go! A new chapter for the Jets has started. Aaron Glenn and Darren Mougey are tasked with shaping the future of this franchise. Will they be the ones to finally get it right? We will be here for every step of the journey on the Jake Asman Show, breaking down all the storylines, every game, and everything in between. Please subscribe and hit the like button below. Super chats, baby. Cut the line. The Jake Asman Show starts right now.
Here we go, Jet fans. Happy Saturday. Happy Knicks Game 3 later tonight. Hope everyone is doing well here on Memorial Day weekend. Click the like button and make sure if you haven't subscribed to the channel, you do so. We are presented by PrizePicks. And a reminder, if you ever miss any of the show, you could get us in audio form. This show on YouTube is available on Apple Podcast and Spotify. Just search Jake Asman Show, and you can listen to the full YouTube show as an audio-only podcast on either of those platforms. Let's say hello to a good friend of the program. He is a passionate Jet fan, passionate Knick fan, passionate Yankee fan, all my teams. It's our guy, Paul Fiore, who joins us now. Paul, how we feeling, man? Game 3 tonight. Yankees can't win a game, so the weather god said we won't have you play today. And, of course, the Jets have OTAs in less than a week.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy how it's one of those things where we can sit here today and say, thank God we're Knicks fans. Yeah, the Yankees are the offense is just very, very – there's too many bad hitters in that lineup right now, man. I was telling my brother last night, like, you got multiple sub 200 hitters in that lineup, and it just doesn't seem much different than last year. They've got this great pitching staff that's just getting wasted because they don't have enough guys like the old team that could just work counts, get on base. So as far as the Knicks go, let's win tonight so we can take away some of the stress of I don't want to see a game 4 in a 2-1 series. 3-0 is very different than 2-1.
No doubt. 3-0, it's over. No team's ever come back down. 3-0 in the NBA playoffs. 2-1, well, then you got to sweat out, the game 4. I do think if the Knicks could just get one, whether it's tonight or they win a game 4, series is not going longer than 5. That's how confident I am in this team, but we'll see. And we'll talk some Knicks later on in the show for all the fellow Jet Knick fans out there. But Paul, this is the first time I've had you on since the draft and really since the Jet roster. I don't want to say he's officially put together, but the main pieces are in place. Before we talk big picture, as we sit here right now with OTAs just days away, give us your feel for the franchise right now. How do you feel as a Jet fan looking at what this team currently is?
It's interesting. So I think when you and I were on last, we had talked about what they might do in the draft. And I was playing with the idea of Sadiq being the pick at 16, as long as they followed up with a wide receiver. And I think the two of us were like, oh, are they really going to go 2 pass catchers early in the draft? And they literally did that, right? And so from my perspective, I was not a Bailey guy, but I understand why they went with Bailey, and I'm fine with it. But in general, like, it's hard to argue the first 4 picks between Bailey, Sadiq, Cooper, and Pons being a really strong pick in the second round. And, my only issue really in the draft was the Klubnik move, not so much to get him, was moving up to get him. But, as kind of time goes on and you think through it, if they really loved the player that much, moving up in the 4th round to get him, I was in my mind, I was like, well, I'd like to see them get a linebacker. I was looking for that in the draft, but they have so many holes to fill. You can't be mad at it. But when you take their offseason in its entirety between what they did in free agency and what they did in the draft, I feel like there's an actual plan. And so that gives me cautious optimism, I think, is the best way I would present it today. Is I've got tons of question marks, obviously, still in my thinking with regards to, can Glenn be a good head coach? But as easily as it was to criticize him last year and how things went, especially the first 7 games before they threw in the white flag and traded away everybody and made basically a teardown. I have to give him credit for how he's been this offseason. And it seems, though, and again, it's still early, but maybe there were lessons learned. How he's handled the media, I think, is significantly different. I've enjoyed listening to him talk ball a little bit because I feel like he's more in line with, focused on what the task is at hand. And so I'm cautiously optimistic. Doesn't mean I expect them to win a lot of games. So I don't know what that's going to look like as it plays out going through that schedule. But I think there's a real plan with a team that's really young. Most of their key pieces, especially on offense, are under the age of 26 years old. So aside from Geno, name a starting offensive player that's, I think, more than 25 right now.
It's such a fascinating breakdown of the roster because on one hand you have some of the aging veterans that they brought in who still could be solid players, and on the other you have the like younger players that we're hoping could take a big step forward, whether it be in year 2 or year 3, and then they obviously infused the roster with some rookie talent. I've said this before, Paul. It almost feels like if this was their original plan in year 1 of Glenn and Mougey, it would have made a lot more sense. But here we are in year 2 where they clearly had a plan to infuse veterans with some of the younger players, but they got to win enough games for the coaching staff to see this plan through and be here for a 3rd year. So you wonder what Woody's thinking through all this. Like, what are Woody Johnson's expectations for what the New York Jets should be as a team in 2026? He's not going to outright and say, they need to make the playoffs, but at some point, Woody's going to want to see wins. But how many wins does that necessarily mean the Jets have to have in 2026?
Yeah, I mean, I think, look, there's a couple of miscalculations, I think, on Glenn's part last year. I think he honestly thought coming in and being like the CEO type coach, bringing in, a veteran defensive coordinator to run the defense was going to result in a better season. Now, they bet on Fields. That was a disaster. I don't think we're ever going to hear from Glenn the truth of how, where he is today. But if he was to be honest with themselves, he probably should say, I think they overrated what they thought they could be last year. I think that he made a massive mistake by not running the defense and trying to run some version of what Wilkes was running, which did not work for the talent. And it became a teardown. They pivoted, right? So like, what happens now? It depends. Like, what did they tell Woody? Did they basically say, look, we went for it in the first half of last year. The talent wasn't good enough. We made a mistake. We fired Wilkes and the staff. We tore this thing down, and now we're rebuilding it in what we believe will be a long-term successful franchise. All of that's fair, but how does it look on the field? Do they look competent? Does Glenn look like he's putting a game plan together that keeps them competitive even in games they lose? It's the NFL. Most games should stay within a touchdown. Like it's parity for a reason. The number of teams that make the playoffs after not making the playoffs the previous year every year is significant. It's very rare that you get like what the Jets have been 15 years of no playoffs. So like, to me, progress is absolutely necessary. I don't know about the win-loss situation. Like I've been fluctuating on what I think the team is floor and ceiling looks like. I really think it's a matter of how competitive this team looks and how competent they look in general, because I think the defense is behind the offense at this point.
Isn't that crazy to say out loud?
It's crazy to say. The big unknown is Geno, right? Like, is Geno 80% of what he was in Seattle, 70% of what he was in Seattle, or is he more like what we saw with the Raiders last year? Because, if Geno is a top 20 to 22, 23 QB, their offense should be competent. If he's trash, then they're going to have a problem. But I think the defense, you talked about adding vets. It mostly was done on the defense. Like, aside from Patrick, they just picked up, most of the vets that they added on this team, they went with a vet-laden defense, short-term contracts, and it kind of makes sense. It's really, to me, this is a 2-year rebuild. The offense is now basically a QB away. They've got a ton of talent, hopefully, if they develop it right. The defense still needs bigger pieces, and I think that's what they're going to probably try to do over 2 years. That's my opinion.
Comments, questions, super chats, cut the line. For those tuning in live on our show today, at the end of today's program, we will announce the winners of the Asmaniac Weekly Raffle. If you want in on it, we're going to raffle away 3 signed Jet-related items. This is your last call to enter. End of today's show, we raffle away a signed Garrett Wilson helmet, signed Wayne Corbett end zone pylon, and a signed Breece Hall helmet. So those 3 items are up for grabs. And when you enter, we're going to do a separate raffle today for a Jets Legends jersey. So you have 4 total prizes up for grabs, and anyone who enters during the show has a chance to win a Namath, Klecko, Martin, Corbett, Revis, Mangold, or Keyshawn Johnson Jets jersey with the other prizes. Paul, we know Woody Johnson, in his tenure as the owner of the Jets, has typically been patient, and that's not the narrative that I think a lot of people have come to grips with, because most recently we're seeing Woody firing Robert Saleh after 5 games, but he's never done something like that before. But now that he's older, this playoff drought is going onward. They started 0-7 last year. I just wonder if they get off to a bad start, right? Let's say they lose week 1. Let's say they could be looking at an 0-4 or 1-5 start. How patient is Woody going to be? Is he going to let Glenn finish out the year? Is he going to try and make a change, because that's what he did a couple of years ago with Saleh? People just say, Woody is just going to fire Glenn if they get off to a bad start. He might, but that wasn't his track record until he did that with Saleh at 2-3. And we know Woody and Saleh's relationship is not as close as the relationship he seems to have with Aaron Glenn. So in terms of the owner, your thoughts just on what it all could look like from his perspective now going forward?
I mean, my gut tells me that he's not going to do what he did with Saleh regardless. And I think there's one main reason behind that. It's maybe not as much about Glenn as much it is about the opportunity to bring in somebody in the future. I think if you fire another coach in season, 2 years after doing that, when we all agree, I think most Jet fans agree that they shouldn't have fired Saleh at 2-3. They should have fired Saleh. If they were going to fire him at the end of the year or before the year began. And so for me, firing Glenn, even if they get off to an 0-4, 1-4 start, only potentially emphasizes the things that Woody has been knocked for, potentially a little unfairly, because I think he was way more patient than Saleh with Saleh than most. I think he just made a bad decision firing him then. And I think with the idea that you're going to have 3 first-round draft picks, you're going to have, $150 million in cap space, something crazy, and a relatively young roster with what should be a draft that has a significant amount of good quarterbacks. And if you get off to a terrible, terrible start, likely you'll have a top 5 pick. I don't know if he's going to just go, all right, screw it, I'm firing Glenn. I think he may have his mind made up early about firing Glenn, but I think he might just let the string play itself out. It's just my guess, and it might be because his football people tell him not to do it. I don't know.
It's really a fascinating dichotomy. There's no doubt about that. Paul Fiore is with us here. We're talking all things Jets. Cashmere Black with our first super chat of today's Saturday program. Would you want the Jets to fire Glenn before the season started if you could get Bill Belichick as a head coach, or would you still want to give Glenn a second chance? Give me Aaron Glenn, man. What is the point of bringing in Bill Belichick right now? No, thank you, man. His best days of coaching are long gone. The idea that Belichick would come in and have the Jets in this great situation. Who's his quarterback? Geno Smith? I mean, the second Bill Belichick didn't have Tom Brady anymore. What did he do? So I am I am A-okay with no Bill Belichick, but Paul, maybe you want BB.
Yeah, I look, Bill's best years are behind him. Aside from the fact that the guy literally is shit on this franchise, excuse my language, for 20 plus years. Like, the idea that he would come here is nothing more than the fact when he reached out, actually looking for a potential job. He wanted
so desperate. He reached out to Mike Tannenbaum and the Jets.
Yeah. So, like, even if he was still a good head coach, my whole mindset on him is like, no. Did I want, like, I was all like, when the Jets were 0-7 last year, I thought there was a real shot Glenn wasn't going to make it. Then they basically traded away everyone. And my whole perspective was, well, they're obviously not firing Glenn if they're trading Sauce and they're trading Q. So I'm going to stop my whole mindset, which was get rid of Glenn and start over, because I knew they were going to give him a second year. I think at this point, I just think they're going to give him the second year. I personally think he's going to get a second year no matter, like, all the way through. It would be really surprising if he moved on from him during the season, to me.
Yeah, to me, it makes no sense. Bill Belichick will never be an NFL head coach again. I mean, since he's been fired, he's had one head coaching interview in the NFL in 3 years. Doesn't that kind of tell you what the
with Atlanta, right? It was with the Falcons, yeah.
And that's really it. Comments, questions, super chats, cut the line. So, in terms of the roster right now, I think one of the interesting things, if you want to try and find something to potentially look at for a veteran edition, is the backup quarterback situation. It feels like all signs point to Cade Klubnik getting a real chance to be QB2. Want to play you some sound from Rich Cimini on our Jets Collective podcast the other day, talking about the Jets' vision for Cade.
They haven't come out and said it, but that's exactly what they're thinking right now. They're going to hold off on the older veteran guy as the backup and let these guys fight it out. And they're really high on Cade Klubnik. And I know the fan base is. I would caution the fan base to just tap the brakes a little bit. We've only seen him in rookie minicamp, but they're going to give him a runway here. They got 10 OTA practices plus 3 minicamp practices. He's going to get a lot of reps. And I don't want to say it's his job to lose. I don't know if that would be an accurate characterization, but they're going to give him a chance to show that he could be that guy. And then I think they'll reassess when it's over and then decide if they want to go out and get that veteran. So, I would say the door's open for Klubnik.
Doors open for Klubnik. So, Paul, do you have a chub for Club? Your thoughts on that?
So, yeah, I think that's probably, like, I think he's right. Look, my view on Klubnik is I was not happy at the time they made the pick. Now, to be fair, I had not had him on my radar at all as a guy that I was interested in as a potential dart throw, right? Like, my guys that I had as dart throws, not one of them was a Klubnik name, So I was a little bit negative as time has gone on. Watching the kid in the interview room and how he handles himself is a big deal to me. I think he exudes a certain level of confidence that you like to see in the quarterback. He's got more, I guess they would say, aura and kind of, presence than Zach Wilson ever had. If he develops into a true QB2 and you got him in round 4, that's a big win. I know a lot of people are like getting a little bit ahead of it now and thinking, oh, he could be our Brock Purdy. He could be our Dak Prescott. People forget Dak Prescott was likely a first-round pick if he didn't get hit with the DWI right before the draft. But the number of guys that get drafted outside of round 1 or round 2 that become true QB1s is very, very rare when you just think of the grand scheme of how many quarterbacks are drafted. But can Klubnik be a competent QB2 in the future with all the stars he's had in college? Yeah, I think there's a real shot at that. Now, do I think they go into the year with him as QB2? I would not discount the idea that they give Bailey Zappi the start as a QB2 and that Klubnik becomes QB2 maybe after weeks, 3, 4, or 5. I think that they think Bailey Zappi can be a competent QB2 for the beginning of the season. No differently, I think, than the way you got to think of what the Giants did last year, where they had Winston playing QB2 and Dart was QB3 to start the season, right? So I think there's a chance of that. But if they love what they see in Klubnik in preseason, he'll probably play a ton. I think that there's a good chance they don't bring another veteran in. They go with Zappy and Klubnik as your backups. And then Brady Cook, the guy that everyone was hoping was a savior last year, is a practice squad quarterback.
Remember the first drive against Jacksonville? I'll never forget it.
Yeah. So, I like what I've heard from Klubnik so far. I don't care about what he's done in shorts. But look, he was a talented guy who would have been a much higher draft pick at the end of 2020 if he would have come out the year before. Things fell apart last year, but in his mind, he's still that same guy. So I like the mindset, I like the attitude, and let's see what happens. I mean, if he becomes, like I said, if he becomes a competent QB too, and I don't know if you're going to be able to make a true analysis of who he is as a player this year, unless Geno's really bad and you see Klubnik for 4 or 5 games this season, which we're the Jets. That's probably what we're going to see. The Jets are going to be all in for a QB in 27. That's my guess.
Do you have an early love with any of these quarterbacks? Do you have a guy already for 2027? You were a big Mendoza guy, Paul. So have you identified your guy for the 2027 draft?
Yeah, I'm not there yet. I just think there's a lot of guys. And there's a guy like, I don't know if you know Drew Mestamaker. He played at UNT last year. He's going to Oklahoma this year. The kid is extremely talented and he's got a big arm, big kid. I don't know if he comes out. That's the question I have, because if this class is as good as they think it might be, there's a number of guys that are first round talent quarterbacks, but I like him a lot. Obviously, you've got the other guys. The Julian Sayin, Dante Moore, Arch. I mean, the list is kind of long right now. I think we just got to see how the season plays out.
Yeah, I mean, it's just impossible to say, right? I mean, none of us knew who Fernando Mendoza was at this time a year ago. And a year ago, Cade Klubnik was the number 3 prospect in the draft, according to some, like Field Yates. And here he is a year later going in the 4th round of the Jets. So you just don't know. That's what makes it so difficult. But I know people say, oh, every year, who knows what's going to happen. Just if you're playing the percentages, odds are the Jets with 3 first-round picks will get a chance to get one of these quarterbacks. There'll be more than just one consensus first-round guy. I know Simpson went in the first round as well, but there are people that didn't think he was a first-round graded player. No one debated whether or not Mendoza was going to go in the first round or going to go in the top 5 for that matter. I'd imagine a year from now, there's going to be at least 3 first-round quarterbacks when it's all said and done.
Yeah, I mean, this year was kind of like everyone's like, well, you never know what's going to happen because we expected this to be a great year. And it turned out not to be. And I hear that. But that's also as rare as it can get. Like, there usually is a fair number of guys that should be first-round QBs. And I think right now there's essentially, forget about what's his name, the kid from Texas Tech now who's got his situation going on, Sorsby. But, you've got 8 to 10 guys right now that if you just go down that list, they have big seasons. They can be considered first or second round QBs. The Jets are going to be in a decent position no matter what to get one. I'm not sitting here this year going, I hope the Jets win 2 games so we can get the first pick in the draft. I look back and I think in the last 20 years, Stafford and Eli are the only 2 QBs drafted at the number 1 spot in the last 20 years that have won a Super Bowl. So you can and will likely be able to win a Super Bowl without having the first overall pick at quarterback. Let's be competent and win some games and see how this all shakes out. Look at Indy. I'm sorry. Everyone, we should pump the brakes on Indy. Their freaking schedule is hard as hell. Daniel Jones, who was terrible before last year, is coming off of an Achilles. I mean, we knew how guys have looked the first year coming off an Achilles is not good. Let's root for them to be awful. I don't know why. I see a lot of people and I get it. There are a lot of people that don't like Aaron Glenn as a coach. And I was one of those guys last year who thought he was a bad head coach. I'm rooting for Aaron Glenn to be a good head coach. Like I don't have a personal issue with Aaron Glenn. It feels like some people in the fan base just don't like the guy. And he was an all-time Jet. I don't get that. Like there was a lack of humility beginning of last year, which probably hurt him. But I watched him in the pressers this year so far, and like you can just see it. He bleeds wanting to win. So like I want to see the guy be successful. I'd love to see Frank Reich do a good job as an offensive coordinator and Rex's kid be the heir apparent to be the OC. Like in a perfect world, that's what you get, right? Glenn becomes a good or competent head coach. Frank Reich does a good job on the offense. They go find their quarterback next year, and Rex's kid becomes the OC in 2 years. Like, that's what you hope happens. That would be a great Jets story. Like, the idea that we got to wipe it all out again and start over again, and then we got to trust that Woody does the right thing and brings in the right people. We've been through this how many times as fans?
Well said. And I just think you might be left with no choice if Glenn doesn't prove himself.
Sure.
But the best case scenario is he's learned and he's better. We're going to find out. I can't remember, though, a season like this one coming up where in terms of just like the pressure on the head coach,
right?
Like we have talked about Aaron Glenn's job status now since they started 0-7. Like this is an incredible like fall from grace, so to speak. Like people came in and wanted to believe in the guy. And you said something I think that kind of led to all this. He came in very arrogant, brash, cocky. And when you do that and then you start 0-7 and it looks the way it did throughout the year, it's tough to win back the fan base. There's going to be some that support the Jets no matter what, support Glenn because they're shills, homers, whatever, and that's just how they operate. But I think most people are at a point now with this franchise. Show me before I give you any benefit of the doubt or any belief, because let's be real, like the public perception of Glenn from most in the fan base is about as down as I've ever seen for any coach going into his second year.
Yeah, I mean, they won 3 games last year and they got blown out week after week the last 5 weeks of the season. And before that, and everyone wants to excuse that, the first 7 weeks of the season, he was not a good head coach when they had talent. So we can't lose that perspective. You hope that he improves. You hope that he does a good job now with just running the defense, and Reich does. I mean, like he has set himself up for if there's a chance for him to do a good job, he's done everything I think he possibly could, and Mougey's helped him to try to make that happen. With that said, I think it's like a 30 to 40%, 40 is probably high. It's like a 30% chance that if everything, that everything works out and he's here. But hoping for it and rooting for it. And so somebody's like, it's real wishful thinking. It is. But I'm not going to go into a season, like almost like doom scrolling and just thinking that this is the end of the world of it. Like you look at the Jets schedule, you look at who they play, they should be able to significantly improve to get to like 7 wins. I mean, like if they win less than 6 games, I think he's absolutely gone, in my opinion. I think 6, it's kind of it's tricky. And I think if it's 7, he stays. That's like my thinking right now.
What if it's 7, but they beat the Bills resting their starters the last week of the year?
Yeah. So, but that goes to that whole, like looking at their schedule, the Jets are like early, obviously this is all changed, but going into the season, the Jets are only favorite in 4 games this year, right? They're preseason. They are favored against the Browns, the Dolphins, the Raiders, and Arizona, and only the Dolphins at home. They're not favorite against the Dolphins on the road, which makes sense because they're doing back-to-back travel weeks that week, and it's week 12, and they hadn't had a bye. I think if they win 6 games going into the Bills, if they're competitive in the losses and not getting their asses handed to them against, teams like the Lions and the Bears and Broncos, I think it matters how it looks. I really and truly think it matters. So for me, I think 6 is my floor. I think below 6 it's just not going to work. They're going to move on. And I think 7 is a significant improvement from winning 3 games last year. And he's definitely going to get the opportunity to pick his QB. That's my opinion.
I think 7 is borderline just because of the unknown of like how they're getting the 7. Like it can't be the Adam Gase 2019 season where they're 1-7 and then win a bunch of games late against some bad teams, right? Like if they look awful and then they pick up a win against the Cardinals and the Bills to finish with 7, I don't know if that's enough to save them. I think they got it. Like they need to get off to a respectable start. Like have a season that's not over before the month of September, like it was last year. And that's why I think, and I've gotten some heat for this opinion, I think week 1's a must win because I think it's here we go again if we lose to Robert Saleh in the opening game of the season.
So everyone's like, oh, that's a crazy take. But when you look at the first part of the schedule, like I broke this thing down into quarters, you have to win the Titans game because the other 3 after that are really difficult. No matter what we want to say about Green Bay and Micah Parsons not playing and it's the home opener, Green Bay is going to travel well. They're going to have a lot of fans in the building. And you can't go into that game with a Jet team that won 3 games last year saying, that's a win. No, you're playing the Titans week 1. That's still a 50-50 game at best. You need to win that game if you're an improving team. If you lose against the Titans, then you're following up with Green Bay, Detroit, and Chicago. There's more than a fair chance that you potentially go 0-4. And that is a problem, right? So I see a world where if they can, it's funny, if they can beat Tennessee, I see a world where they could be 4-4 through 8. If they lose to Tennessee, I see a world where they could be 2-6 because I could see a little bit of a spiral happening if they start out losing that game and then they don't beat Green Bay. And now all of a sudden, next thing you know, you're staring 0-4 in the face. So it's a provocative take to say week 1's a must win because no week 1 game technically is a must win, but it's the Jets and we don't have the confidence that they're going to win their home opener. So, and then they got to go back-to-back road games against 2 really good football teams that are likely playoff football teams. Again, they could be 4-4, or they could be 2-6 through week 8. I think I think there's no in between. I think the Jets could be 4-4, and you're like, all right. And then, by the way, that next group of games gets really tough after week 8. Like that week 9, I think they go, what is it? Kansas City, San Diego, Buffalo. I think it's like or I don't know the exact order, but it's the gauntlet of those 3 QBs back to back to back. That if you're not 4-4 going into week 9, it could be really ugly. And so, Jake, to answer your question, I don't know if they get to 7 wins if they're not at 4-4 through week 8. I don't see 7 wins if they're not 4-4 through week 8.
Comments, questions, super chats, cut the line. End of the show today. Weekly raffle. Last call to enter. Brees signed helmet. Wayne Krebet end zone signed pylon. And Garrett Wilson signed helmet. The top prizes. If we get 20 entries this show, we will throw in a Jets Legends jersey. You pick the player you want it in for those of you who enter on our Saturday show. Right now, no one has entered. So I'm going to get us going here and gift one person a membership. If you want it, like the video, subscribe to the channel, check out Paul's YouTube channel as well. We'll link it in the live chat in a moment. So make sure you click subscribe to Paul. Doing a great job talking all things New York Jets with us here on a Saturday. One gifted membership from yours truly has been gifted. And how about this for a brand new drop?
Great point, Jake. You hit it right there.
That's right. I hit it right there, Rich. And listener, Jawbreak7921 is the new recipient of a channel membership. He's in our raffle for one. Paul, in terms of Geno, what do you expect? Like, could Geno Smith give us one of our better seasons? Is he going to be awful like he was with the Raiders? What are your expectations for the quarterback of the New York Jets?
Yeah, so he's not 40. He's coming off of a really bad season with a team that was a complete disaster. The year before, I think people overrate what he was. There's a reason why Seattle moved on his last year. He started showing some old Geno tendencies that, you know, making bad decisions, throwing some bad picks. Can he give you a Rodgers like 2024 season? I mean, he's got. So the way I look at it is, I think it's not unfair to think he can give you some version of the Rodgers 2024 season. And, you know, Rodgers in 2024, if you just look at it statistically, was one of the better QB seasons that the Jets have had. Um, and a lot of people couldn't wait to throw him out of the building, which is fine, right? We don't have to rehash that. But I think Geno's capable of something like that. The question really becomes, if the Jets are, let's say the Jets get off to a 4-4 start through week 8, and Geno's playing decent, and then they go through that gauntlet of 3 straight. They lose all 3, and they're 4-7. Now they're on the road at Miami. I feel like that's almost like a because that's the last game before the bye. I think if he loses that game, you might see like a Klubnik after the bye. I think there's a chance. Like if the Jets are 4-8 at the bye, I think you see Klubnik. I think if the Jets are 5-7, they're still in the hunt graphic. He stays. So I think you can expect Geno to be like my hope on Geno is, if I'm trying to be realistic, give me a top 22 to 24 QB in the league. And can he be in the top 20? Maybe. But I think he's still Geno. He still has a tendency to get a little bit, makes bad decisions, but it could be fun. He likes to throw the ball downfield. He's got some guys that all run sub 4.4s that can get open, get deep. So give me an entertaining offense and let's just see what the hell happens. Score points.
If we're going to lose, can we score points? So then it's like, wow, we're an attractive job for a top coach that could get his quarterback, and the piece is already in place.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, again, you've got guys that have matchup opportunities. Sadiq is going to be a matchup nightmare. You've got Garrett. You've got Cooper now, who's a good possession receiver, will get open. You've got A.D. Mitchell, who can go deep. You've got some guys, right? And you still have Brees, and you have a pretty good offensive line. There's no reason why they should be god-awful on offense. There's just no reason for it unless he's completely washed. I don't know. We'll see.
I mean, it's just impossible for the Jets to be obviously worse offensively than they were a year ago. And I like your comp for Rodgers in 2024 because like that was just like competent quarterback play for a lot of games. There were some stinkers in there, but like, again, is it crazy to think I think Geno could be more productive than that? Like, I think they could have a more efficient offense than that because I do think Frank Reich's a way better coach than Nate Hackett or who was the guy that replaced Hackett? What's his name? Is that with the Patriots? Todd Downing, right? I don't know. Like, maybe I'm drinking the Jet Kool-Aid in May here, and I want Geno to do well because it's a cool story. But like, I don't think he's washed. Like, I think the Jets' offensive line's better now than it was that year with Rodgers. Like, I don't think it's crazy to think this team could be a top 20 offense.
Yeah, look, I mean, the Jets won 5 games that year. Rodgers put up that 2024 season. And I know it's easy for us to just blame the entire 2024 season on him. But they were 2-3. They fired their head coach, and their defense got incredibly worse as the year went on. They blew multiple fourth quarter leads, and their kicker missed how many big kicks and cost them, I think, at least 3 wins in that season. So if they give you a Rodgers 2024 season, if he gives you that type of year, now the problem is our defense going to be terrible? I don't know. Like, there's a lot of question marks on defense to me. And we don't have a kicker. So are we like, there's a chance we actually replicate the 2024 season in a lot of ways because our defense is not going to be good potentially. I know we got some veterans in here, but is Minka still a decent version of Minka? Is Demario Davis at 37, 38 years old still a serviceable player, or does he just fall off a cliff this year? And how does Glenn do calling a defense? I just don't. There's so many questions about it's crazy. I think there's more questions about the defense than the offense, and we do not have a kicker right now. And so when you're a team that's going to be in a battle every week to try to win a football game, if your defense is bad in the fourth quarter and you can't get stops when you need it, and your kicker can't hit the big kick, that swing from 5 wins to 7 or 8 wins is very volatile. It is.
I'm with you. I'm very nervous about the kicking situation because it could derail a season. It did it in 2024, and you're right. That's the one thing with Mougey I didn't agree with from the beginning. It's like, you have Falk, it's good, just pay him and keep him. Because there's going to be games where if you're the Jets and your margin for error is razor thin, you're going to need a kicker to win you some games. And hopefully they figure it out. Banjo was really impressive on special teams last year. Maybe they can identify a younger kicker, maybe they could find the kicking version of Austin McNamara, who was a rookie punter a year ago and was awesome. But I am very nervous about the kicking spot. I won't freak out because it's May 23rd, and there's a good chance their starting kicker is in the UFL right now, or is, a free agent and is maybe on a different team, and they bring that guy in at some point in training camp. But you're right, Paul. This season, razor thin margin. If I'm Aaron Glenn, I would have been saying we need Nick Folk back, like pay him the extra $1 million to keep him away from Atlanta, and let's make sure we have a good kicker.
Yeah, it was really weird, and it's clear to me that we don't have our kicker is not on the roster yet. I would be surprised if we're going into the season with what's I can't remember. Yeah, I mean he was bad. He's just not an accurate kicker. We already cut the kid that we picked that we got from BYU. Where was he from? BYU.
Yeah, the Will Ferrin was the BYU.
Yeah, he's gone already. So like, again, when you're a team like the Jets, and look, can they shock the world? Sure, I'm not going. Look, I get criticized for this. I don't wear the green goggles like I used to. I was a guy that just every year I literally would go through the schedule every year and be like, I can find 9-10 wins on the schedule every season. I just optimistic, stupid Jet fan, always thinking we got 10 wins and we win 5 or we win 3 or we win 6. And the Rodgers injury year kind of just changed my entire perspective about how I look at this. The Jets are until they prove otherwise, they're a 5 to 7 win football team. And again, when you have the question mark at kicker on a team that is likely, even if they win 7, 8, or even 9 games, they are not a team that's going to be blowing people out. They're just not. So you need a kicker to kick the big kicks, and they decided Nick Folk, for whatever reason, wasn't worth the extra $1 million. That is the one thing that I agree. I was like, why are they letting that? Why are they not keeping someone that was consistently a good kicker for him? It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, it's scary, man. Because when you don't have faith in your coach and you have questions at quarterback, and you're in tight games and the kicker could kill you, we saw what that looks like in 2024. Like the Jets were better than a 5-win team if they had Nick Folk on their 2024 roster. Like that's just a fact. Anyone who is trying to downplay what happened in 2024, go watch the first half of the year. How many games did Greg Zuerlein potentially cost the Jets? And Robert Saleh probably doesn't get fired after that game against Minnesota in London if Nick Folk is the kicker the week prior against the Denver Broncos.
Jets, by just having a decent kicker, would have won 7 games in 2024. They would have went, not that that's a great year, but they would have won 7. And if their defense would have held fourth quarter leads in at least half of the games they lost, they would have won 9. Like there's an easy way to just tear that season apart as being a complete disaster, because it was, but they blew multiple fourth quarter leads and they blew games because their kicker couldn't kick a field goal.
Yep.
There's 4 games easily in that season. They win 9 if you just are competent in those 2 spots.
Totally agree. Well said by Paul there. He is spot on. Upstate Jet fan checking it out. Hello, Upstate. We see you. Thank you for the super chat. Who are some kickers that you think can make the roster? I don't think we have the guy on campus, as Rich put it on the Jets Collective podcast. Your thoughts? Yeah, 100%. Whoever the top UFL kicker is, that's who I would bring in to compete with Cade York and someone else. Like, I don't even know who that is. Who's the Brandon McManus got released by the Packers? He's a vet. I'd bring him in, see if he can catch maybe a little lightning in the bottle with a guy who's been on the decline, but kickers are a lot like relief pitchers in Major League Baseball year to year. Sometimes you just don't know. So I am all for the Jets just bringing in a couple of younger guys, a couple of proven guys, and let's have them duke it out in training camp. And really, they'll start bringing in guys, I'd imagine, later this week that we'll hear of during OTAs. They'll use OTAs to start working out different kickers as well.
Yeah, they will absolutely sign a free agent kicker. It's just a matter of which veteran they decide to sign, right? Hopefully it's not a Graham Gano, right? But like there'll be somebody that breaks free. I'm just looking at it right now. I mean, who are the available free agent kickers? He's got Daniel Carlson, Matt Prater, Riley Patterson. Like there's a few, somebody's either going to get cut or will be available and they'll pick someone up and they're going to go. I would be surprised if you don't see a veteran kicker on the roster.
Comments, questions, super chats, cut the line. Paul Fiore hanging out with us here. Appreciate everyone who's hanging out and watching our show on a Saturday. Paul, we're going to try and convince you to come to Atlantic City to take part in the Gangrene Beach Club. The Asmaniac Speedo competition is in full force. Our graphics guy misspelled Asmaniac, I see, on the flag in the background there, but we'll get that corrected for Gangrene Beach Club. You got the was that charcuterie board there? With
I'm Italian, so I'm giving you the charcuterie board, right?
Has this picture sold you on making the trip to Atlantic City?
I mean, I think if I was in that kind of shape, I mean, if that comes with it, I probably would have to just go just for that.
GayGreenBeachClub.com. Comments, questions, super chats, cut the line. We'll do some calls with Paul for those of you who want in on the conversation. We have the raffle at the end of the show as well. We're presented by PrizePicks. Put $5 in, and you'll get $50 instantly in lineups if you use that code HMA. So check it out. A couple Jet-related prize pick options I want you to weigh in on. I've done Geno a couple times on the show. How about Garrett Wilson, though? Because so much talk is about all the additions they made around Garrett. Do you expect Garrett Wilson to once again go over 1,000 yards and have at least 5 touchdowns? I don't see how he wouldn't if he's healthy. So I think these numbers for Garrett on PrizePicks are very low, and there's a real opportunity here for him.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen these in general. You've been posting various different ones, and they all always look at it and you go, man, that feels low. I mean, Garrett should be over 1,000 yards. I mean, like he's gonna be fed, right? So yes, I think both of those, I think both of those are overs. I would be taking both of those. I think as long as Garrett's healthy, for sure.
I mean, if he doesn't go over 1,000 yards and have at least 5 touchdowns, I mean, what do you have, 4 last year and he barely played?
Yeah, I mean, again, these it's crazy though. Like it's freaking gambling. You look at things on the surface, you're like, that's a no brainer, and then something weird always happens, right? Like I'm not saying that'll be the Garrett move, but like I think you put up Brees recently, and I was like, oh yeah, for sure. And I saw Geno's. Like, I mean, like that would be Geno being a disaster if he can't have that type of season. And maybe
Geno's so low. I mean, passing are 2,600, passing touchdowns 14.5. Like again, obviously injuries is the only thing I think that could stop this. But like PrizePicks is either telling you Geno Smith is washed, he's going to get hurt, or he's going to be so bad early they're just going to go to Cade Klubnik and he's never going to give the job back to Geno.
Yeah, this is Geno got us off to a 1-7 start. Everyone's getting fired. We're going to throw a Hail Mary and hope Cade Klubnik saves everybody's job kind of thing, right? Like that's what it feels like would be like the Jackson Dart decision, bringing him in what, week 4 last year. Geno's awful, like awful, and is throwing pick after pick, and they just have no choice. I don't see it. I think Geno's still a competent quarterback. I think Geno will throw, he'll have, again, I think I think it's more likely he gives you a Rodgers 2024 with maybe more picks than he gives you Geno 2025.
Yeah. It's just, God, that's so low for Geno. Please just be competent, Eugene. Give us a season 4-4. Like,
be competent. I mean, there's a real path to 4. And again, I'm saying this out
You're right.
loud.
No, you're right. Like, again, we're not asking for much. Like, most teams don't get buried at the beginning of the year. There's parity in the NFL by design. Like, you're not supposed to start 0-7, 1-5. You're supposed to be 2-2 through the first month, like every other team, as they figure things out.
If you just beat the bad teams on your schedule, like, come on. And again, I say this out loud knowing that I sound like a green goggles Jets fan again, but I also have them I think I have them at best winning 7 games when I went through this schedule, and I still think 6. But how the Titans? I mean, it's still Robert Saleh. Like he's still Robert Saleh. Like no matter what we want to say, He's not been a good head coach. Give him the losses against the Packers, the Lions, the Bears, and the Pats. You can't beat the Browns when you don't know who the damn quarterback is, and you're home. You can't beat the Dolphins at home, the Raiders, who may be starting Mendoza his first week by week 8, like you've got to win those games. If you're trying to keep your job as a head coach, You need to win at least 3 of those 4 games. And then it's the NFL. Find a way to win one of the other ones if you have to. That's still 4-4. At worst, 3-5. I just don't. If the Jets are not at least 3-5 through week 8, this could be really ugly. Because again, you're not. I mean, unless there's some miracle, I don't think you're beating the Chiefs at the Chiefs. I don't think you're beating the Bills. I don't think you're beating the Chargers at the Chargers. And everyone's got them locked to win against the Dolphins in week 12. Do we understand that the Jets have not swept the Dolphins in how many years?
Well, I mean,
and Miami's a house of horrors for the Jets.
Yeah, and here's my thing with Miami too, Paul. Everyone assumes they're going to be awful, and they might, but like they did just pay Malik Willis a significant contract, so I don't buy that they're tanking. They might not be good. I think the Dolphins, like, what if Malik Willis is actually good? What if Jeff Hafley's a good head coach? They're not going to be the worst team in the league if one of those things is true. Remember, they were tanking for Tua with Brian Flores, and he actually proved to be a pretty good NFL head coach. So they won more games than they were supposed to. Like, again, if you have a good coach, you don't finish as the worst team in the league, no matter who your quarterback is. That's just a reality.
The reality of this Jets schedule, and we can nitpick how it's unfair that they got to go on the road back to back 3 out of 4 weeks in the first 6, and then they got to play the Chiefs, the Bills, and the Chargers. But the reality of this is if Aaron Glenn is a decent head coach, and again, I put this at 30% that makes it through the year, the Jets find a way to 7 wins. And if he's a terrible head coach, they could maybe win 3 games. Like, it's possible. Like, there is a world where the Jets lose at Tennessee, lose to the Packers, lose to the Lions, lose to the Bears. They're 0-4 in a tailspin, right? And Todd Monken is, doing a decent job with the Browns, and he's got his quarterback playing decent football, and they got a good defense. And next thing you know, now you're on the road against I mean, it could snowball like that. I'm not sitting here trying to predict that. There's a lot of people. All you got to do is look online. There's plenty of people that will go, they're going to finish 2-15, 3-14, and be a disaster because Aaron Glenn's the worst head coach that's ever existed in the NFL. I am just not ready to sign his death certificate today. I can't, because I like what they did in the offseason.
Right. So, it's like we like the moves, and then it just always comes back to the fact, man, I wish we had a real coach. And then I think we would be way more optimistic on the season.
Yeah. And I do believe Frank Reich is a competent offensive coordinator who should get a decent amount out of the talent they have on the offense. So if Geno is not washed and Frank Reich can do a decent job, the Jets should be in a vast majority of the football games they play this year, with probably a subpar defense and a TBD on the kicker.
Well said. Well said. Only a couple entries today for the raffle. Last chance to get in for a Garrett signed helmet, Wayne Corbett signed end zone pylon, and a Breece Hall signed helmet. We will raffle that away at the end of the show. Let's do a call or two with Paul. Appreciate everyone hanging out here on a Saturday. First up today is the one, the only Kyle Clifton.
What's going on, gents? How are you?
What's up,
Hello,
Kyle?
So I think Paul brought up Nestamaker. So I took a closer look at him because he was in Navy's division, and North Texas had a pretty good run in the athletic conference this past year. There was 5 teams that had 6 or more conference wins, and they won the division, I believe. They gave Navy a real tough time, and I guess he impressed enough to move on to Oklahoma. He only had 1 game where they lost, and he had thrown 3 picks against South Florida, but I'm not really sure what the game script was there. They had South Florida had over 300 rushing yards, so he might have been trying to throw them back to the game. I'll be interested to check out some of his games this year, because he is a guy that is starting to gain a little bit of momentum for 2027 draft. some of the stuff that Paul mentioned too about like, in 24, if the defense had been a little bit better in second halves and the kicker had been, we would have been right there. That makes me think about the 25 season and some of our results, right? Like, I feel like if it wasn't for special teams, we would have had a chance of going winless.
They were a
So-
one-win team, I think, without special teams.
Yeah. So like, to me, that's an indictment of Glenn. So I'm going to be watching him very, very closely, as we all will over the first 6 to 8 games of the season. He is on the hottest of hot seats in my opinion. I would have thought that the time to get rid of him would have been immediately after last season and to bring in a young offensive guy. They didn't go that route. He's probably, I don't know if he's earned a second chance, but he has enough equity with the owner to get that second chance. I don't know what he's sold to the owner, right? Like, has he sold to him that we're going to be, me and Mougey need to be able to be around to see these picks that we traded for through. Like, if that's the case, then we might not be able to develop these players. Like, I don't have a whole lot of faith in Glenn, to be quite frank with you. But that said, I remember his legacy as a player. I want him to do well. It's just a matter of what we've seen in game, and sort of the clownish behavior we saw with the media last year, and it just left kind of a bad taste in my mouth. It's funny. The chat has been coming after me lately as kind of being not an optimistic Jet fan, and my familiars that I grew up with think I am the most optimistic Jet fan. I think what's happened to me is kind of what is going on with Paul in recent years. We've seen that we haven't been to the playoffs in the last 15 years, and you've got to see it. You've got to prove it. And realism is starting to creep in. It's not pessimism. It's not hatred of the team at any level. I want the team to do well. I want Aaron Glenn to do well. But like, we've got to see it from these guys. And we can like the players that they've brought in. I think that potentially Sadiq could be a difference maker. But as it was said, he's a little bit raw. I liked the fact that they opted for Cooper later rather than the USC receiver because he would have been slot only. I want to get Garrett into the slot. I think Cooper and Garrett can have some inside outside depth of cap there, flexibility, and I think that they built something that is a little bit more flexible and a little bit more multiple with the picks that they've made, as well as being quality. So that's all. That's kind of all I had. Have a great holiday weekend, gentlemen. I'm going to go inside because the rain is starting to come, and I hope
it's coming, Kyle.
And I hope I threw the chat for a loop by being outside in this weather.
You definitely did. Ralphie wrote in, I have more faith in Kyle's betting picks than Glenn's coaching ability. Cavs plus 6.5. Kyle did think the Cavs were going to cover, and I went with Kyle's pick of OG more than 15.5 points. And I think he finished with 14 in game 2. But hey, the Knicks won. That's all that matters. That's all that matters. I did just see this, speaking of the Knicks. So game 3 is tonight in Cleveland at 8, and it could be another Knick fan takeover in the building. According to TickPick, 31.2% and 10.5% of the secondary ticket sales have come from New York or New Jersey. So a lot of Knick fans buying tickets, maybe driving or getting a cheap flight, and that is more cost efficient than going to one game at MSG for the conference finals.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I can't wait to see that. But, listen, Kyle is always such a great caller on this show because he's grounded in reality. And it's like there's a real world where the Jets are awful this year, and it's not because the talent isn't good enough. It's because Glenn is really bad. They can't develop these guys, and they move on. I think there's a world where Mougey stays and gets to pick his guy.
Me too. I think that's my prediction right now for what would happen.
I think that that's probably like if you were to just do like betting odds, to me, like the number one likely outcome is Mougey stays, Glenn goes. The number 2 is they both go. And the last one would be they both stay. Because when you win 3 games and you look as bad as it did last year, so many things have to go right this year. And so much against history has to happen that Glenn suddenly figures it out. With that said, as a Jets fan, I do want to see that because, again, I don't trust. Now, if they keep Mougey and they move on from Glenn with what the Jets have in draft capital and the Jets have in salary cap room, it would be shocking that the Jets wouldn't be considered an extremely attractive opportunity for somebody to be a head coach. Last year, hindsight being 2020, if the Jets would have fired Glenn, they would have been one of 11 openings last year. And would have been at the bottom of that list for somebody, So if they fire Glenn at the end of this year, there's not going to be 10 openings. There's going to be, the league turned over a third of the league last year. So it's going to be a lot less. And so the Jets are going to be an extremely attractive job, regardless of the owner in that way. They may have to pay a crap ton of money, but who gives a damn at this point? So for me, it's like, I hope to God Glenn figures it out and that this is a turnaround. But if not, please don't make the mistake of doing what they did with Saleh and giving him another year, and then firing him in the season. That would drive me. That would be the worst outcome. For me, it's be definitive in this. I need to know definitively at the end of year 2 of Aaron Glenn, can this guy be the head coach that develops a court that has this thing set up where we're a quarterback away from being a team that can be in the playoffs? And if not, then get him the hell out of here and bring in someone that is an offensive-minded head coach that can develop a quarterback.
Well
no
said.
In between.
Well said. You need to know at the end of this year, definitively, we have our guy, because the job's going to be an attractive one if you're unsure. You know what I mean? People will want this job. You have the most cap space in the league. You have 3 first-round picks. You were set up with a young infrastructure at some key premium positions. Let's assume David Bailey's good in year 1, right? I think that's a fair expectation for the second pick in the draft. You have legitimate pieces on offense, whether it be the tight ends now with Taylor and Sadiq, Cooper to go with Garrett Wilson. Brees is here for the next 2 years. No matter how anyone feels about him as a running back, where he ranks, he's a good, productive running back in the NFL. There's players here, man. Bookend tackles. How many bad teams have good offensive lines? That's what made last year such an anomaly for ineptitude from a Jet standpoint. Usually, you're awful. Oh, your O-line obviously stinks. No, they actually had a good offensive line. So it's there are ingredients here for whoever the coach is. If you're not sure about Aaron Glenn after 2 full years, you got to move on and try and get someone who's proven, like a Tomlin or McDermott type, or take the big swing on the offensive-minded coach to help develop your quarterback you're drafting. That needs to be the plan.
Yeah, what we do not know, there's a lot of assumptions about, Mougey and Glenn being tied to the hip, the hip and this and that. We don't know that. We can say in the beginning that, Glenn chose Mougey and that's the way it went, but we have no idea how they're viewed in the building as far as their abilities moving forward. And it may have been as simple as, Mougey's good at bringing in the right talent. He's signing good contracts. He's made good decisions. He has not handcuffed this franchise whatsoever. And, they're going to say, all right, well, Glenn's getting his second year. And if it doesn't work out, we trust Mougey. He's done a good job on talent evaluation. He's brought in the right people. He's got connections around the league. He comes from Denver, which is a competent organization that's run well. Maybe it's a Davis Webb or someone like that who becomes the head coach if it's not Glenn, right? I just think it's too early to tell. There's this, there's groups of people that are they're literally attached. I don't know how you can say that, because from just as someone looking at this, and listen to the national media who evaluated the Jets offseason and evaluated the Jets draft, universally have gotten good grades universally. Right. So everybody can't be wrong that the Jets did not infuse a ton of talent in the roster. If they don't win more than 6, if they don't win 6 games or 7 games, that is 100% a coach issue. You can't not make that a coach issue. You see teams with less talent on a roster win more than that than the Jets currently have on their roster right now from a talent perspective. And by the way, if their offense is decent, when you have the edges now with Bailey and Will McDonald, you should be able to put enough pressure on the QB that maybe you can mask a little bit of your issue at linebacker, because I think linebacker is a big hole right now for the Jets. I don't think Sherwood's good. Davis is old. They don't have depth there. And that part of that defense scares the hell out of me a little bit. And as much as I like Pons, I think Stevens was okay. Like, he was okay the first half of the year, and the second half of the year he wasn't very good. So I think there's a lot of question marks in the back end of that defense. So for me, it's like you need to score points so you can put pressure on the QB and not just get completely bludgeoned by the run game and then and then play action, which they got killed on last year.
Oh, I've never seen a worse defense against play action than last year's
It
defense.
was embarrassing. It was embarrassing.
Paul, you're the man. Thanks so much for hopping on. Great hour of Jets talk in May. It can be done, people. We're finding a way. And I put the link to your channel in the chat earlier, but tell people about Jets Talk now and some of the content you'll be throwing up there over the next couple of months.
Yeah, thanks. Appreciate it, Jake. Yeah, I try to post like once a week, maybe if I can, twice a week. And it's really just like this. I try to be more of like a realist on the view. I'm not going to lie. When things go wrong, or if I get a passionate take, I might get a little bit off the end. Like, there were plenty of game reactions last year where I was losing my mind. And I am still a desperately passionate fan of this team. And even when my teams like the Yankees and the Knicks and playing well, the Yankees not so much right now, but the Knicks, I'm still a Jets guy, and I still talk ball in May. Yeah, check it out. I appreciate any support and all support. It's, I started the channel basically because of you and others. And it's been a lot of fun for me. And sometimes I get guests on to do a one-on-one where we may not agree on some stuff, but it's been fun. Like, I've had Frankie on, I've had Will Parkinson, so that's been a lot of fun too.
Will Pa and Tanky V, two
Two opposite ends of the spectrum on Jet fandom.
No, and that's what makes this fandom great. Yep, you're right about that. You're the man, Paul. Have a great weekend, and let's go Knicks tonight.
Thanks. Take care, guys.
Paul Fiore with us there. Let me shout out the Poon Man. Major Poonage has gifted 5 channel memberships. Hit it, Beningo.
I only worry about one person's penis, and that's mine.
Whoa.
So everybody else's, I don't really care.
Whoa, Joe, family show. Poonage, you're in the raffle for 5. We appreciate you. Sean Horton is in the Asmaniac raffle for 1. Thank you, Sean. Yeah. Comments, questions, super chats, cut the line. Last chance to get in on today's show. It's Memorial Day weekend, so we don't need to go on forever, but we do have a weekly raffle to announce. A bunch of Asmaniacs have won prizes since December of 2024 every week on the show, and we will continue to do weekly raffles moving forward. Again, end of the show today, we're going to raffle away a signed Brees helmet, signed Wayne Krebet end zone pylon, and a signed Garrett Wilson helmet. M. DeReezy writes in, if fans show up in Cleveland tonight and make it a home game for the Knicks, I think the Cavs go belly up. Well, it's going to be interesting because I saw that Bruce Springsteen played in Cleveland last night. A lot of Knicks fans planned their trip to see Bruce and the Knicks Cavs game tonight, because it's cheaper to see Bruce Springsteen and a Knicks conference finals game in Cleveland than it is to go to one game at MSG. Isn't that nuts? So I do think there's going to be a tremendous amount of Knicks fans in the building later. I do. Man, comments, questions, super chats, they cut the line. Appreciate everyone who's hanging out with us here on a Saturday. M123 writes in, I want the Jets in the playoffs for the first time in my life. I'm more excited for next year than this year. I think there's a path for the Jets to finally get it right. But it's tough as a fan to I'm more excited for 2027 than I am the upcoming year. That stinks. There's light at the end of the tunnel, but we've already been in a spot where it has been so dark for so long. You don't want to sit through this rebuild again, but unfortunately, that's where we are. So it is what it is. It is what it is. Comments, questions, super chats, cut the line. All eyes will be on Arch Manning, but I don't want to do March for Arch in May. Oh, man. Kyle Clifton checking in. He's in the raffle for 2. In finance, they mighty think Cavs plus 6.5 was a natural hedge. When the Knicks won outright, the betting Knicks fans still receive a benefit. LOL. I call that the emotional hedge, Kyle. If you bet Cleveland getting 6.5 in game 2, it's the emotional hedge. Now, what I would do is I would bet Cleveland on the money line. That way, if you lose, at least you profit. And if the Knicks win, you don't care about losing your bet. I do that a lot. It's like, at least I can get a free lunch if I'm going to be miserable if my team loses a big game. So it depends how you view it. All right, right now there is only one man that is currently on hold. So I'm going to take his call as I begin counting all the weekly raffle names, and we're going to award someone a great prize. Ladies and gentlemen, on the Gusbuster Umbrella Hotline is a man known for stringing the cheese.
Stringing the cheese.
Beast. Oh, we have a slumbering beast. Beast. He's snoring. I hear it. Now, let me try and wake him up, folks. Beast. I'm going to sound the alarm. So if you're listening in public, in your car, with kids around, you don't want to startle them, or with your headphones on in audio form, lower your volume. All right? I want to give everyone a fair warning. 3, 2, 1.
Goddamn headset! You son of a bitch, myself! Headset! There she is. There, that's much better. That's much better.
Hey, Beast.
That's much better. That's a lot better. This is a good Sony headset. And I just had a sandwich, pork chops.
Were you dreaming about a sandwich, or you just had a sandwich because you look like you were sleeping?
Are you high on Kool-Aid again? When I get my next check, I'm going to send you a 50-pack of Kool-Aid, cherry, orange, lemon, lime, pink lemonade, mixed berry, grape, lemonade, pink lemonade. You'll have all of.
I love your shirt.
Donkey Kong? Oh, yeah. Donkey Kong. Hey, Donkey Kong is great. A Nintendo classic. I was sleeping like a baby, boy. I sleep like a baby almost.
So break down what you've done today. You had a sandwich and then you took a nap?
Oh, yesterday I had a rough day at the office. You tried cutting that one lady's grass. That was a real pain in the ass. I couldn't get my mower to register it. So after 15 shots of trying, and you're going, the blades weren't getting there. So lucky I had to lift the mower. I'm just going up. I'm like, okay, get over. What a bitch. What a bitch. And this year, that stringing the cheese video is too hot to handle, too cold to fold.
Well, I got some good news for you, Beast. There's been an update to the stringing the cheese video. You ready?
Really? In the words of the great Longshanks from England, really?
Hit it.
Let's play that new video, Stringing the Cheese, please. Stringing the cheese.
Holy shit, ass maniacs. You know what time it is? Time to get to that beef static and string some cheese. Straight stringing the cheese. Oh, yeah! Oh. The Jets could make the playoffs. That's got me stringing the cheese. The Knicks might be finals champions. That's got me stringing the cheese. Oh, the Yankees chasing 28. That's got me stringing the cheese. When Mimosa sends a super chat, that's got me stringing the cheese. Oh, stringing the cheese make me happy. My stringing the cheese might look messy, but cleanup is a pleasure after a damn good stringing the cheese. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm stringing the cheese.
Stringing the cheese.
Yeah.
Hey, with this is a 20-year-old guitar, but this damn thing could take a beating and still keep on kicking. Are we ready for that raffle?
We are almost ready for the raffle. Let me shout out Jay Petito, who just purchased 4 raffle tickets. Jay, we got you. Thank you very much.
Great point, Jake. You hit it right there.
Oh, yeah, Jay. Great point. Robin Boy Wonders in the raffle for 1.
They wrote me off. I ain't right back, though.
Robin, thank you. We got you down for 1 as well. We are almost ready for the raffle. We'll bring Beast on shortly. Yo Home says we need a Beast stringing the cheese shirt. Gator, can you come up with a design of Beast playing the guitar and it says stringing the cheese under it? And I'll see if I can put that on a t-shirt. That'd be hilarious. We'll have to wear that to Gangrene Beach Club in July. Upstate says, can you please make this a track we could download? I think Gator will add it on the Spotify playlist he made of some of the best intros and songs from the show. Tommy says, greatest Jet show on earth. Thank you, Tommy. It's obviously very light on Jet news. You know, it's interesting. So the Jets had OTAs a year ago already at this point. They started because they had a first-year coach. That's why the Giants have had some OTAs and some teams around the league, like Salah, first year with his team. He spoke the other day. But because the Jets have a second-year coach, they don't get to start a week earlier than other teams. So there's kind of like this dead period right now. We'll get some news Wednesday. First OTA practice for the media is Thursday. So we'll start to get, some tidbits of information. But it's a little slow right now. So anyone who's watching a Jet show in late May, Memorial Day weekend, thank you all. Because you guys are the reason we can do this year round. Ralphie in the raffle for 1. Thank you, Ralphie. Did you ever see an NBA player playing chapstick like Mitchell last game? I didn't notice he did that because I was at the game, so I missed that. But I thought that was unique. I've never seen that one. So no, I don't recall that. Ralphie, thank you. Uno Jet says, Jake, put me in. He's in the raffle. Thank you, Uno. I'm literally counting names right now. Chad says, Beast is unleashed. MD Lizzie says, album cover for this needs to be made. Beast on the cover. No doubt. That's a man's man right there.
Except I need one thing. I need my Thor hammer and the bow and arrow. So I go, Patriot arrow? Patriot arrow. What? Whoa! You don't remember that, do you? Robin Hood Men in Tights, the Patriot arrow? You remember the scene where Robin of Locksley shot the Patriot arrow and went up? What was it? And everyone just went, whoop, whoop, whoop. I was like, what the hell was that? That was the Patriot arrow. You didn't see that coming, did you? No, you
Hey,
didn't.
I got breaking news. We have enough to actually do a raffle for a Jets jersey. I didn't think we'd hit 20. I think we're pretty close. So either way, I'm going to do it anyway. So we're going to do the weekly raffle for 3 signed items, and anyone who entered here on Saturday, your chance to win a Jets jersey of your choosing, Jets Legends jersey. So we will do that coming up, counting all the names here. I appreciate it. Here's what I'm going to do. I need to finish counting these names, make sure we get everyone accounted for. I am going to play a short clip. You're going to laugh, trust me. And at the end of the clip, we're going to be ready to spin the Wheel of Champions. How's that sound? That sound good? Great. Here we go. Enjoy. Lou B joins us. Lou, what's the deal with this plumber you hired for Beast today?
This went from a small job to a rather large job. For the last 10 days, Beast has not had hot water. Then it wasn't the hot water. Now there is a clog Where is this clog? I need to know before I send a plumber to his sure death. The clog is in the tub. Joshua, the plumber, is there now, and he had to call in another plumber.
Tools in hand, let's go, Beast. What's the problem? Talk to me. Seems to me that Beast has been unloading his beast on that bowl a little heavy in the tub. I don't know if his ass can't fit on that toilet. He's hitting the tub for it, but we'll take care of it. We'll rip that sucker right out. This boy right here will get it loose.
This thing was blocking the pipes where the water was at, so that guy took it out of there. Boy, was it a bitch. It smells like somebody's ass.
Big fella says you have to stop shitting in the tub. What does it taste like? Is your bathtub now working?
We got it working.
Now, have you thought about saying thank you to Lou B?
He'll get his wish, but fortunately,
No. How about you say thank you now? He's not wishing for it. You say thank you for getting a plumber to come to my random ass house in a different state, 3,000 miles away.
Whoa, I will say it to him on the phone when I get him on the telephone.
Say it to him now. There's 300 people watching.
Muchas gracias, El Luby. And we'll get you a burrito, my friend.
Just say thank you.
Son of a bitch. Thank you, Lou B. Fucking chat is treating me like crap.
But what you need to do is thank Lou B.
Thanks, Lou B. I love you as a brother. When we meet, we're going for Mexican food.
Holy shit.
Y'all bastards better get the hell off my back, or you're all going to get your asses with a boot up it. Whoa, that is disgusting. I'll take this rod, lucky I don't brand it, and shove it all up your asses. Some tacky yaki. I don't like it. I don't like it. I used to love that. I will talk later.
Do you think I could buy that rod off of Beast and use it as a raffle prize?
You might, right? That might be a good idea, you know? Have him send it to you and bring it to Ocean, too.
I'll stick it up your ass, Beast, honestly.
What's the latest with the plumbing situation? Do we have an update?
The bathtub's up to grade. Get that hot water heater going again, and then...
Will you say thank you to Lou B for fixing this?
He would have got through his telephone. He heard me loud and clear. Muchas gracias, el señor Lou B. You are
in English. No, in English.
Thank you, Lou B. You're welcome here to my community.
J-Quest has sent Beast to the hole.
I'm going to rip that guy's throat out and choke slam him straight to hell. Fucking asshole. You're a fucking dead man.
I'm going to post bail for you.
Beast, why you a little bitch?
You got nothing to say but insult people. Oh, look at me. I'm a big shot. You're a loser.
How about you say thank you to fucking Lou B?
How about I already took care of it? You're a fruitcake. And you can take that picture and shove it up your freaking ass.
Mad Max is inside the Beastbreaker bathtub right now. Dana says that tub has hantavirus. He's getting something from that. There's no doubt.
I really don't know what to say.
How about the fact that you're so beloved that someone went out of their way to get a plumber to show up to your home in a completely different part of the country? Say thank you to Lou B one more time, Beast. He deserves it.
Lou B, thanks, brother. Just let me be today. I'm already getting a headache right now from yelling at every fruitcake.
Beast, have you thought about not yelling at everyone? Like, the chat messes around. So, Beast, you now have full hot water, correct?
See.
And Lou B spent $2,500 out of his own pocket to make this happen. Well, why don't you say thank you to Lou B?
If I do intend to get married, he is my first inductee to being on my wedding list.
Shut up. And then I raised from listeners, some who wanted to remain anonymous, so I won't shout everyone out. I raised close to $1,000 to help pay Lou B back. So not only do you need to thank Lou B, you need to thank everyone who has donated to try and help you have hot water in your home, which you now do.
Thanks, everybody. Thank you. Leave a message. Have a good day, everybody.
If you want to know what these plumbers saw yesterday, here's a look. This is what Lou B was dealing with.
This has been crazy, Jake, this whole experience. I never knew it was going to turn into such madness. The big story here is the plumber from day one was not the plumber from day two. He did not come back. This had to get fixed one way or another. I didn't care what had to be done. This was getting done. Beast provides a lot of entertainment for a lot of us, and there's been nights where I've laughed hysterical watching him. So I was like, I have to do something. And I know he provides a lot of entertainment for the show, and he feels terrible about the things he said. He called me today really upset. So he's already said thank you to me. He offered me a Mexican burrito that he was going to get me. Yesterday he called me, if I ever get married, you're my best man. And then he switched it to inductee.
He is my first inductee to being on my wedding list.
Motherfucker. How'd I go from best man? What happened? I don't know who the bride is. Then he switched it. Thank you to all the Asmaniacs that, thanking me to doing this stuff, but I appreciate it.
You are the man, ladies and gentlemen. The great Lou B with us here.
I would like to start by thanking the great Lou B for helping me get a plumber and paying for the repairs so I can have hot water again. He is the best. I know how lucky I am to have him care about me. I also need to thank the many Asmaniacs who donate money to help me pay for my boiler and tub repairs. Most of them they don't know me, so the fact that they would do this makes me internally grateful and proud to be part of this community. Just leave a message. Just leave a message. Thank you. Have a good day.
The leave a message is the best part every single time. Leave a message at the beep. Beep. Thank you very much to the great Gator McCluskey for that master edit that we all just watched.
Just leave a message. Just leave a message. Thank you.
Hit the like button if you're just joining us. A couple membership shout outs. About to do the raffle here. Leanie, Queen Leanie in the house. Leanie in North Carolina. In for one. Thank you, Leanie. Spencer Green says, I won. And Spencer, 2 raffle tickets for you. Let's go, baby.
Tweet. String in the cheese.
All right. We are almost set for the Asmaniac raffle. Let's first bring on the master of raffle ceremony to send us to the Wheel of Champions. Ladies and gentlemen, we say hello to this man right here and right now.
Well, since everyone's on Saturday morning high alert, Ty Benningill here in Studio 1. We ready to go? Girls, bring me the wheel. We're gonna not get one winner today, but we will get 2 winners today. It's all up for random, and it's an in your house party. Now, hands are ready at 11, and we are right here at 8. We're ready to bust. So, girls, stand back. We're gonna bust this down at 3. We're gonna go 2. We're gonna 1, and we're gonna let it rip.
It's time to announce the winners of the weekly Asmaniac raffle. Let's spin the Jake Asman Show Wheel of Champions and find out which Asmaniac is winning an epic prize.
Ladies and gentlemen, a masterclass by Beast. He said we're giving away 2 prizes. We're actually giving away 4 prizes. All right, let's do the weekly raffle first, shall we? I put in all the names from today, and then we'll give away a jersey to anyone who was kind enough to enter on a Saturday. So here are the prizes for those who need a refresher. Signed Garrett Wilson helmet. Signed Wayne Corbett end zone pylon. Signed Brees Hall helmet. Ladies and gentlemen, we now must determine who wins each of those prizes. Prize number 1, the G5 autographed helmet. The winner, and again, you can only win 1 prize per weekly raffle. The winner is Anthony Logerato. Anthony's on a roll. He won a Clyde Frazier signed jersey yesterday on the show, which, Anthony, I know I emailed you, but it has already been sent out. And now he's won a Garrett Wilson signed helmet. Outstanding. Congratulations to Anthony Logerato. Great listener, longtime supporter of the program. All right, let's bring the raffle wheel back up. Here we go. Wayne Corbett signed end zone pylon. The winner is Frank P. Congratulations to Frank. He's awesome. Longtime supporter and a big-time winner with the Wayne Corbett signed pylon. All right. That means we got 1 prize left to give away. It is a signed helmet by Brees Hall. I misspoke. 1 weekly prize to give away. We're going to do a jersey coming up as well. All right. Let's bring the Wheel of Champions back up on the screen here. Reshuffle the names. Good luck to all. Our final weekly winner is Cisco Lopez. Now, Cisco's already won a Brees signed helmet, so I'll message Cisco to see if we can swap that out. Hold on. Frank says, Jake, I already have that helmet. Give it to RBW. Whoa. Well, Frank, do you have a Brees helmet? Or you want to just give it to Robin Boy Wonders? I'll make that happen. Robin Boy Wonders, congratulations. You, courtesy of Frank P. Actually, no, Frank, you won. Frank, you didn't win a helmet. You won a Wayne Corbett pylon. So do you want a Wayne Corbett pylon? I don't know. We'll figure all this out. But Cisco, I got you down for the Brees helmet. Frank, shoot me an email and we can work through whatever you're going or whatever you want to do. Appreciate your support as always. Thank you to Cisco as well. All right, so we now have to give away the Jets Legends jersey. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to update the Wheel of Champions with the people who only entered, I should say, during this show. I need a little time to do that. So I give you right now the extended Rooster song.
He's on the G-Gasm show. Might look like a bird. Some say he walks like a duck. But he can rip out your throat and make your heart stop. If you're a leader of Jets, you might change your name. They say you'll change your name. They call him the Rooster. They call him the Rooster. He's not afraid to call into the G-Gasm show. The G-Gasm show. Call him the Rooster. They call him the Rooster.
Incredible. Thank you, Gator, for that. Let me shout out Black Gypsy, gifted a membership during all that. He's in the raffle for one.
Just leave a message. Just leave a message. Thank you.
Okay, here we go. So we got one more spin of the Wheel of Champions. It is for a Jets jersey. Let's bring on the master raffle ceremony.
I only worry about one person's penis, and that's mine. So everybody else's, I don't really care.
Oh! Wow! Keep your. Let me just say this once.
Calm your freaky down.
Calm your freaky down.
Now let's get to the wheel. Girls, bring that wheel back over one more time. We're going to have the hands on the 11 and the 8. Are we ready for the countdown at 3, 2, 1, and let it rip?
It's time to announce the winners of the weekly Asmaniac Raffle. Let's spin the Jake Asman Show Wheel of Champions and find out which Asmaniac is winning an epic prize.
Ladies and gentlemen, hit the music. Here we go. One last spin. Again, I think we were going to get over 20 entries today, which is usually my threshold, but you guys are the best. Even on Memorial Day weekend in May, we have enough for a jersey raffle. So if you win, you have to email me the Jets legend you want the jersey in, the size you want it in, and obviously your full name and address so I know where to order it to. Good luck to all. One last spin here on a Saturday in May. The winner is Jay Petito. He has won a Jets Legends jersey. Congratulations, Jay. Pick between Namath, Klecko, Martin, Corbett, Revis, Mangold, or Keyshawn Johnson. You won. Hit the Jet Champ for all our weekly and daily raffle winners.
Jets, Jets, let's go!
Thank you all for being a part of the show this week. A lot of fun. Couldn't do any of this without you. We'll have OTAs this upcoming week to talk about. Certainly, we'll be watching the Knicks, and we'll hit on that as we've been doing on the shows as well. You guys are the best. Thank you all for your incredible support. Truly mean that. Wouldn't be able to do this year-round without you. Take a look at some of the other NFL teams and their content creators. They go dark during a lot of these months, and we're live each and every day year-round because of this community. Check out the podcast if you missed any of the show. I recommend you join the Patreon. We'll have details on a tailgate. Also going to have some details on a pub crawl for any Jet fan making the trip to Nashville that is interested in something like that. So check that out. I'll have info on the Patreon over the weekend for that one. You guys are the best. Let's go Knicks tonight. I will talk to you guys soon. See many of you at Gangrene Beach Club on July 11th. JETS, 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 Jets. Have a good weekend, everybody. And again, let's go Knicks.
Hello, Cho. How are you, man? Are you all right, Cho?
How old are you?
I'm 42, brother.
Okay, I'll take it as that then. Okay, I just wanted to make that clear.
Yeah, I just got this today.
Some of the most important people in my life are women.
And we know that.
Okay, I just wanted to clarify that for me. If that's his thing, then, that's his thing.
I got one.
What? I didn't mean to do that. If I did, I don't even know how to do that. What do I have to do?
Hey, is that the Peanut Man? Your shirt there, Big Joe?
Tell me again what I need to do to unblock you.
You're fine.
Okay.
You're fine. I got to go take a shit right now.
Great point, Jake. You hit it right there.
Oh, hi. Jake wants me to ask you to click on the like button.
That's right, Lane. And if they don't subscribe to the Jake Asman Show, this team may never win another game. Let's go Jets.